This video is brought to you by Squarespace. On today's episode of WatchJRGo, we are here in my garage with some words that I never thought I'd be saying just a few short years ago with my McLaren. And today, we're selling it. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and like I said, we are here with my 2012 McLaren MP4-12C, the first of the McLaren street cars, and the first year of it after the F1 and all their partnership cars that they made with everyone else. They returned what I thought was poorly, and after owning this car for a while, I think is now triumphantly. I think McLaren built an amazing car that I love to death. It's probably my top 3 best cars of all time. In that order, which I get it, it's a little subjective, but I think the greatest car you could ever buy because it does everything perfectly is the 911 Turbo S. After that, AMG GTR Pro, and after that, or maybe interchangeably, this car, the MP4-12C. The Pro and the 12C are both rear-wheel drive with about the same horsepower, 600 horsepower. The Pro drives a little bit differently because a lot of the mass is up front, and this thing has just been amazing. It is literally the culmination of everything that I love in cars. The reason I love the Huracan is because it drives like a video game in real life. It doesn't even make sense. When you shift, the car accelerates through the shifts. It doesn't like slow down or anything like that. It like rockets you forward and there's a click and it goes faster. And this car kind of does the same thing. It brings together what cars were supposed to be from when we were growing up in video games. It's black magic. It makes no sense. It's so fast, it just blows your mind. It's just like seeing the nitrous in Need for Speed Underground when everything blurs. It's crazy. And now you know some of the reasons I love this car. I put a little over 1,000 miles on it. Actually closer to 2,000, isn't it? I put some miles on this car. It's got a lot of miles on it. If you haven't watched the original videos, it has now about 65,000 miles on it. So it's truly been driven. This was not a garage queen. It didn't sit in some old guy's collection. This car was driven. In fact, I have a lot of pictures of its history now. It's been wrapped and wrapped and probably wrapped again. These wheels were originally silver from McLaren, I think, and then they were powder coated white, and they were powder coated black, and then it had Vorsteners on it. It's been through a couple different versions of aesthetic there, but it's been an amazing car. And you're thinking, why would you sell it then if you love it so much? Well, first of all, obviously this channel, we make money on cars, and I'm not really making money on this car. I'm breaking even, but I needed the garage back because we need to be able to work on cars, and the McLaren does not do well outside. Evidenced by the fact that I backed it out of the garage the other day, it was cold, and the clock spring just broke. So now the airbag light's on. So it will need a clock spring down the road. And also, if you guys remember, when I picked this car up, we also saw that flashing check engine light. It's probably time, roughly, from talking to the McLaren mechanics that have worked on this before, they said it could probably use coils and plugs. And what's really funny about coils and plugs is you can just buy the coils at O'Reilly's. Guess where they come from? If you guessed a Nissan Sentra with the 2.0, you got it right. Plugs are actually McLaren specific. There's some interchangeable ones, but you're supposed to run the McLaren ones. So that's no big deal. It's actually not expensive, and it's just a really time-intensive job. That's kind of the main thing on plugs and coils. So again, your question is, JR, why are you selling this thing? It's amazing to drive. Its handling's out of this world. You're not going to lose any money on this because it already has a ton of miles on it. You can keep driving it for relatively little money. Well, when I bought this car, it was supposed to go straight into inventory with my friends at Enthusiast Auto Sales. They were going to list it for $89,995, which is roughly the market on a 12C with this kind of mileage. So the game plan was to take this wholesale deal that I bought, move it into the dealership, and turn it into a retail deal, and there's probably a $10,000 upside on it. And I could enjoy the car for a little bit, and we could sell it, and both of us would make a little bit of money, and that's really the dream. What more could you ask for? Having a supercar, driving it for free, and then making a little bit of money at the end. Well, instead of doing that, I took the easy route out, and I didn't make any money at all. So EAS had their dealer fees and everything to run this whole transaction, and of course I put money into the car. You know, it's $120 oil change or something like that, just in material, if I remember right. And of course we put the latches in. That was around $300 when all was said and done. So we put about $500 in it, money to get the car home, and that's it. I broke even, dead even on this deal. Now, if you're looking to sell your McLaren, you might want to create a website for the sale on Squarespace. Squarespace gives people a beautiful and powerful platform to create your website. Squarespace helps you connect with your audience and generate revenue through gated, members-only content, manage your members, send email communications, and leverage audience insights all in one easy-to-use platform. Like I sold my McLaren because my Volt needed to go back on the charger in the garage, or like my McLaren was completely trouble-free until the day I sold it and then every light came on the dash. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/WatchJRGo to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video and being a continued supporter of automotive creators like me. Now, back to the McLaren. I bought it for $76,000, as you guys know, the cheapest sale on one of these that has probably ever taken place, fully clean title, and I sold it for $79,000. So, like I said, a few thousand went to the dealership, and $1,000 went to the parts and materials that I put in this car. So, that is the deal with the McLaren sale, but I wanted to take you guys on one more tour of the car now that it's fixed. So, if we open the doors now, they open right up, and if we shut the doors, that is an entire world of difference. This car is so much more livable. Before, every time you slam these doors to shut them, it was painful. It literally feels like you're gonna break something in the car. You're slamming them with all of your might and you're pulling on the door panel. I think if you were pulling on a door panel on most cars as hard as you have to on this with the stock latches, you probably break something. I think the door panel might come off if the bolts ever failed in it. So I bet this has no push fasteners. It's probably all bolted in with like hidden panels or something like that, because you were slamming those doors. Now you just get in, softly pull the doors down, and they close, and you don't look like an idiot because you had to get out of your car to pick up some food or something like that, and now the door doesn't shut until you try it 3 times. So, and you know, the problem with this is you're like, oh, who cares? But everyone's watching when you're driving a supercar. Somebody comes out and talks to you. What's this car? You know, how fast is it? All the normal questions that you get. You're at the gas station. That's always happening. And then you're like, all right, see you later. Bam! Doesn't close. Bam! I can't tell you how much of a difference those soft close latches made. The other thing we're gonna fix right now on the car is the windshield had a couple little chips. This is the McLaren windshield, so I don't want to replace it. We're gonna wipe this off and then fill that chip and that chip. They're actually just little pits. I do want to make sure nothing ever happens. One more right there. So honestly, that's about the last thing that needs fixed on this car, is wiping the windshield down, and I'm gonna fix those 3 spots. And it looks like there might be a 4th one, but this is not a windshield anyone wants to replace. That's just dust. Okay, we're good. What's this one? Chalk. You gotta check, you gotta be sure. Anyway, this isn't a car you want to replace the windshield in. It's probably $1,500 to $2,000. And I know the next owner doesn't want that bill, and neither do I. I'm gonna grab some glass cleaner. Let's wipe this down and get out our Rain-X windshield repair kit like always. Fix all these chips, and that's it. That's the last thing I need to do to this car. The new owner picks the car up in 2 days, so that gives it plenty of time to cure and sit back here inside, ready to go. Let's fix this car for the last time. We'll get it out, let the sun cure the resin, and then we can all say goodbye to it, I guess. I am gonna actually miss this car. It's very good, as I said. I went into it just thinking this car is not good, I'm gonna hate it. All my expectations were shattered. So hopefully you guys got to enjoy a little bit of 12C action. And if you're gonna buy one of these, I can say, you know, roughly, you're not gonna have a bad time. Now there can be problems with 12Cs. Crank damper, coils and plugs. Coils and plugs are just a wear item, honestly. Most people say they change them at like 30,000 miles. What else? Cam phasers, it's a possibility, not a big one, but it's a possibility. There's quite a few things that could go wrong with a 12C, and it could really hurt. But luckily with this one, it's been taken care of. All of the owners have loved it enough that it's still doing great to this day. One other thing is the headlights are kind of delaminating inside. That's not like a headlight polishing thing. That is underneath the lens, and it's on the McLaren checkmark there, the upside down McLaren logo. So another weird issue with the car, and I don't even know how you'd fix that. You'd have to like open the headlight up in the oven and sand the insides of it. I wouldn't recommend that, and I don't think any shops would want to take that on either. I bet those headlights cost an insane amount of money. Many of you know this Rain-X windshield repair kit already, and you've seen it done. We've used it to fix my F250, my GTR, that Mitsubishi Mighty Max, tons of cars. I've repaired so many windshields with this. It's 10 bucks, and every time it works better than all the other kits there are. So use this one. It's got an injector that's really nice. We're gonna set it up right now, and should just take a few minutes. Resin's in the little bottle, and the injector, you just set it up like this, screw it down. Basically, screw it in until it touches the windshield, which is about roughly there. And you'll get the injector flat, back out the stem. This actually pushes the resin in. Put a couple drops in there, I think 3-4 drops, something like that. And screw it down until you see the hole disappear. And that's how you fix a windshield. It is that easy. If you're thinking this is unnecessary, it's wintertime. I do not want to be the one who backs this out with a little bit of moisture in the glass and it breaks the whole piece. So it is very necessary, and this 10 bucks could save you $2,000 on this car. We've got her all set up here. I don't know if you can see in there, but yeah, you can. You can see the damage, just the very end of that thing. So a couple drops here. Let's do there we go. And now all we do is push it in. All right, there we go. You guys are looking at the repair. Let me know if you can see it, because I literally can't. It even has the film over it still. So the resin's in. These ones were just surface imperfections that have been fixed as well. And the 12C is outside curing real fast. You got to get a little bit of UV in there. And then after you know, a few hours of it sitting in the sun, what's left of the sun, we peel the strip off, razor it flat, and you'll never see any of that again. That's how you do the windshield repairs. Quick, easy, love doing it. This windshield is good to go now. So that is the end of me fixing things on the 12C. So there you have it. The 12C is fixed. I only had to fix 3 things. And honestly, the maintenance, I don't know if that even counts as a fix. Fix the doors, fix the windshield. That's her. That's the 12C. I'm selling it. It was my baby. I'm gonna miss it. And there are not a lot of cars I miss. If I'm being honest with you guys, most of the cars that we sell, I forget about them a few days later. And things like the year-end wrap-up, I have to go through my phone and find every picture of cars that I owned and then kind of add all those up in my head so we have a list again. This car, I'll probably miss it for real. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. Well, back to working on the studio.
Almost there.
Almost there. Financed studio. It's done. The warm glow of a new air light. Always good to see. Airbag, airbag, exclamation point for airbag. But at least we got this. My final drive in the McLaren. I should have got a little bit of the beautiful sunrise on this trip. But of course the car is driving amazing as always, and it has a new fault on the dash. It won't focus, but airbag fault. When you're steering at low speeds, you can actually hear that the clock spring broke. So it probably a super simple fix, but I'm assuming that it just got too cold and the contact stuck on the slip ring a little bit, and that was it. So no more clock spring, no more driver airbag. At least you won't have to replace that if something happens. But like I said, my final drive, I'm running it to Kansas City right now, and the new owner is gonna take possession of it, and I am headed to Chicago from Kansas City to go hang out with legit street cars. So we're gonna go have some fun, work on some cars, and that's what I'll be doing for the next couple of days.